Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. We have huge astrology going on right now, and the next couple of months are going to be very intense. We are soon going to be entering eclipse season because, in my estimation, we feel the energy of eclipses a month before and up to a few months after, certainly a month after, but the first eclipse being on March 14th. So we're going to start feeling that energy in the middle of the month. But to get to where we are now, just this past week, we had Venus and Neptune and the North Node meet up in Pisces at 28 degrees of the mutable water sign of Pisces. And that is a beautiful configuration. Venus is exalted in Pisces. It loves to be there. It is beautiful and spiritual and creative and loving. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, and in the higher vibration, it is empathy and love and compassion and kindness, and it's really creative. It is beautiful, and the North Node of Karma is where you're meant to be going. And with the North Node in Pisces, this is about being of service to others worse off than you are. This is about tapping in to the heart and soul as much as you're able in this crazy world right now. And last week we saw an example on January 31st. That was the day, let's see, I think it was the 30th. The 30th, there was the concert, Fire Aid in Los Angeles. And that concert, the moon entered Pisces soon before the concert started. And there was a stellium of planets in Pisces. The moon, Saturn, which is karma and structuring where we're all going. It'll be in Pisces on and off through February of next year. And then Venus, the Neptune and the North Node were all at the late degrees of Pisces, at 28 degrees of Pisces. And on February 7th, Neptune and the North Node are going to meet up at 28 degrees and 9 minutes of Pisces. I believe it's 9 minutes, but 28 degrees of Pisces. And that is conjunct the fixed star Shiat. And Shiat is a fixed star that is a very challenging one. It is associated with self-undoing and misfortune and just feeling really lost. And this was an example, although I have said this repeatedly, and I have talked about this a lot, because Neptune reached this degree of the zodiac last year from May 4th through September 4th. And now we have the North Node of Karma just entered that degree on January 12th, and it'll be transiting there through July 27th of next year. And this is really trying to tap into the imagination and to love and compassion in a world that has a lot of chaos. And those late degrees of Pisces, very significant because we saw artists and musicians coming together to help people in a really great tragedy, a huge tragedy where a lot of people are misplaced, and obviously, and you had creative people coming together to try to bring music and the arts and love connect us. And that was all of the above on that day. And, this is interesting because later in the spring, we're going to have Saturn meeting up with the North Node of Karma. And that's going to be, I believe, at 26 degrees of Pisces. I'm a little spaced out with all the Neptunian energy right now. And, that's going to be on April 21st. And that brings more shape to what the Neptune North Node conjunction is doing, because Saturn's transiting in Pisces, and it will be again through February of next year. That happens approximately every 28 and a half to 30 years. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011, and it takes about approximately 14 years to transit in a sign. And once it leaves, it takes 165 years to orbit. So it'll never be in Pisces again in our lifetime. And having Pisces at that last degree of the zodiac and now the North Node of Karma, and the two meeting up at, well, now they're at 28 degrees. That's a huge deal because it's reminding us again of really tapping into love, where many of us feel misplaced and displaced, whether we are literally like many people. And bear in mind that when the fires broke out in Los Angeles, at that time, they broke out on January 6th. And at that time, the North Node of Karma was at 0 degrees cardinal. It was at 0 degrees of Aries. And that is at the world axis, meaning huge things can happen on the world stage. And these were fires that, I mean, obviously covered a huge amount of space in a very short period of time. And Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is retrograde right now. It's closer to the Earth, and it's also currently out of bounds, meaning that it does not play by the rules, and it will be through the beginning of April. It got out of bounds. It reached out of bounds as of December 30th. So Mars out of bounds when it formed an opposition to Pluto on January 3rd. I've talked about that. It also formed an opposition to Pluto on November 3rd. And that's an aspect of war, among other things. It's a very challenging aspect. And we have a third hit of that on April 26th, again in Leo and Aquarius. But to where we are now, we had that beautiful lineup at the end of last week where, Venus is going to retrograde in March. On March 1st, it's going to retrograde in Aries. So Venus entered Aries today at 2:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now Venus is at the world point. It actually is setting off where the North Node of Karma was in the very beginning of January. Venus loves being in Pisces. It's very beautiful and giving. In Aries, it is in its detriment because it rules the opposite sign of Libra. And in Aries, it can be quite aggressive and assertive and out for the chase and could be a little more fired up. And again, it defaults back to Mars because Mars rules the sign of Aries. Mars is in its fall position because it's exalted in Capricorn, and it's in the opposite sign of Cancer right now, and it's out of bounds, not playing by the rules. Be wary of getting fired up with Venus in Aries, and remember what the lesson was at the end of last week about coming together. The North Node of Karma, the nodes of fate, where we're meant to be going. Pisces is about the collective, and on the day that they had the concert on on January 30th, that was the day before, no, that was the day that Uranus stationed direct. We feel that energy 5 days before and 5 days after. One of the many reasons I'm not sleeping very well right now, because Uranus is the great awakener, and Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. And there were also 3 points in Aquarius during that concert: the Sun, Pluto, and Mercury. And Aquarius is a sign of groups and organizations and community, finding your tribe. And Pisces is about the soul and about love, and also about coming together in a soul-based way. And the language was music and love. And so we want to pay attention to the Pisces themes because Venus, oh gosh, my cat is now on my table where I'm recording. Venus will retrograde on March 1st, and it's going to retrograde, Zane, it's going to retrograde at 10 degrees and 50 minutes of the cardinal fire sign of Aries. And it will return to the sign of Pisces on March 27th. And then it's going to station direct on April 12th at 24 degrees of Pisces. And so it's going to be, in the Aries Pisces story. I think it was Rick Levine who described it as kind of a relay, kind of a race back and forth between Aries and Pisces. And that's true because even, oh gosh, my cat is going nuts. There we go. Okay. Mercury is going to retrograde in Aries and then station direct in Pisces. And in the month of March, we have two eclipses. So we are in Pisces season in the beginning, and we will have a lunar eclipse on March 14th at 23 degrees and 56 minutes of Virgo, defaulting back to the lunar eclipse on September 17th that was at 25 degrees of Pisces. And then we're going to have a total solar eclipse on March 29th that's going to be at 9 degrees of Aries. And so there we go, the 9, 10 degrees of Aries, because Venus retrogrades at 10 degrees and 50 minutes, close to that, of Aries. Mercury retrogrades on March 15th at 9 degrees and 36 minutes of Aries, and stations direct in the beginning of April in Pisces, around 24 degrees of Pisces. So 24, 25 degrees of Pisces is very pertinent. And so is 9 to 10 degrees of Aries. And, you know, the Aries energy is assertion, is getting things going. Interestingly enough, Mars, we began the year with almost 2 months of Mars retrograde, and Mars rules Aries in modern astrology. So there's a very backwards motion when, if anything, Aries always wants to jolt and move ahead. So this is a jumpy, chaotic energy, obviously. People are swimming around in a lot of chaos right now with the Aquarius Pisces hybrid, but trying to tap into love and imagination. Venus is still conjunct the North Node and Neptune. It's still, it's out of sign, but it's within 2 degrees of those points. And again, the two meet up exactly on February 7th. And then Saturn will meet up with the North Node of Karma on April 21st. And that's going to be, in Pisces. So I wish you all a lot of luck. Oh yeah, luck. Speaking of luck, that's one good thing. Jupiter stationed direct today at 4:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 11 degrees and 16 minutes of Gemini. Doesn't love being in Gemini, but it does love being direct. And it's stationed direct. We feel the energy 5 days before and 5 days after. I remember when I was a kid and I would do something, well, I wasn't supposed to be doing, or I wasn't paying attention. My dad would say, Tisch, hold the phone, meaning stop and listen. And it usually it was something I had to listen to. Maybe I didn't want to listen to. But with this energy, hopefully it's good news, but a lot of Gemini is communication. And so a lot of communication with Jupiter stationing direct, saying, pay attention, a lot getting uncovered, and, a lot happening for sure. So I wish you all a lot of luck. I will be back later in the week, hoping to make more sense. I think for a lot of us, the Pisces energy is very strong and intense, and really trying to be kind and loving in this time. And with Venus and Aries, there might be more of assertive energy now that Venus has changed signs. But again, it's going to retrograde. So I know we have Mars retrograde currently. Mars will finally station direct on February 23rd at 17 degrees and 1 minute of Cancer. And then Venus will retrograde on March 1st. So basically, we're going to have from the 23rd through the 28th of February, we'll have a little window where there will be no planets retrograde, but then Mars will retrograde, and Venus will retrograde, and Venus is a personal planet. How you create things, how you magnetize things, how you partner with others, what you value, how you earn an income, what you love. So I wish you all luck. Jupiter's direct, and let's try to get through this. Take care.